Hello, Mastertron Tamer here. I have got an unboxing for you of a vacuum cleaner. Let me flip this up so that you can see it properly. There you go. We're going to take a look at this baby and see what comes in the box, and then we're going to go ahead and run it through some tests and see how it runs. So let's first start with the unboxing. Let's see what we find. Okay, so looks like we have some instructions. We will take a look at those in a moment. And let's see what else we find in the box. So, this looks like the main extension for this. Let's go ahead and see how that works. Yep, that works good. This is adjustable and we can put this up at different lengths. Looks like quite a few different sizes. We got one there, one there. So I'm assuming this is so you can find the perfect ergonomical height for you to work the vacuum. So that looks good. So that's one piece. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so this looks like a kind of general vacuuming tool. Sort of, you have a brush part. You can pull this back and you can use this like on a car or upholstery. That's how I would kind of envision that piece. Let's see what else we have in here. Okay, crevice tool. That's good. AC power adapter. I'm in the US, as you can probably tell by my accent, so that's the correct plug for here. So that's good. All right. Oh, let's look at this real quick. I'm going to hold this so that you can see it a little bit better, because it's just a little bit small here. Let me zoom that in for you and hold that right there. So this tool doesn't look like much, but it's actually really useful. There's a brush on this side, and you can use this for cleaning out your head, your vacuum piece, or the filter area, I'm pretty sure is what that's for. On here is a little safety recessed knife. And what this is for is cutting off those little strings that get into the beater. Here, holding that up too high so you can't see it. Let me widen back out a little bit there. Up a little bit too far. Right there. All right. So that's a useful piece. That's something you should hold on to. Something else that kind of came out with it, these are a couple of screws and wall anchors. So I'm going to assume that there's a wall bracket that goes along with those. Okay, so that gets us through the first foam tray. And let's see what else we have in here. Alright, so this is the power head for the vacuum. I'm going to move this box out of the way just a little bit so you can see this better. Adjustable, swivel. It's got a nice brush here. It looks like that will work well. And this again is what I was saying. This is how you would cut out those strings that get built up in there sometimes. I'm going to zoom in on something else here really quickly. Hope you can see this. I'm trying to hold it kind of right in the middle. Down here is where the DC is going to connect. So this is a motor-driven device. There is an air-driven variant of these. They're okay, but the problem is they rob power from the suction in order to run them. So this is the better way of doing that. So that's a really nice power head. So far so good. Let's see what else we've got here. Make sure it's an empty bag. So this is the filter for the filtration in the vacuum, I'm pretty sure. And I think we are more or less onto the main unit, but there's a couple of things that we want to double check. Okay, so here is the battery for the unit. So we'll see, I'm assuming it doesn't have a full charge, so we're going to need to charge that before we do any real testing of the vacuum. Let's see, we have one more piece in here. Okay, so this is a wall mount for it. And I see a couple of things on this that I actually like, but I want to get this next piece first before we talk about that. Alright, so here is the actual vacuum. I'm going to make sure that we don't have anything else in the box. Always good. Make sure you didn't accidentally leave something behind. Alright, so now we have the vacuum itself. Very lightweight. That's always a good thing. Looking for the trigger. Sometimes it's like, you know, a trigger right here. It looks like it's right here on this one. And let's go through the paces with this. So let's see if we could just connect it up this short. Sure, we can connect it up like that. This would be good if you were working, say, upholstery. That would be good. The other thing that you can do is you can connect up your wand and hopefully you can see that all. Yeah, you can see a pretty good shot of that. But this is the part where being able to extend it, we're going to be able to pick just the height we want. So that works fine. I'm going to go ahead and remove this from here. There it goes. It's just being a little bit stubborn. There. It's new. It's got a nice tight fit. That's a good thing. Let's talk about some of these other attachments, and then we'll look at this a little bit deeper. So, again, here is that mid-size attachment available. Here's the crevice tool. So that's good. And of course, all of those interchange with this extension wand. All right. So, I want to go ahead. I know you're supposed to charge things first, but I kind of just want to put the battery in there just to hear it. So that turns it on. Top switch. So this switch here turns it on and off. Top switch is the power setting. And it looks like there are two power settings you get to choose from for the vacuum. Alright, so we've proven to ourselves that it works, but like I said, we do need to charge up that battery. Let's take a look at the vacuum itself. Let's see how we're going to be emptying this thing. So there's a little button here. Alright, so that makes sense. You push this button in down here, and the dirt and dust should come out here. Been my experience with some of these, you sometimes have to disassemble them a little bit further, particularly if you have pet hair you're trying to deal with. So let's see how hard that is to do. Well, they've got really good instructions right here. we've got a little lock and an unlock. And what they're trying to tell us is you need to twist that about 1/8 of a turn, and then it falls right out. So that's great for disassembly. It's got multiple tiers of filtration that I can see. This is a little metal band here, which has got kind of almost microscopic, but they're not because I can see them. Little holes here, that's our first series of filtration, and this looks like stainless to me. Once we get inside, we have a filter, and they again have given us a spare. I assume it's washable, but I'll double check that. And it looks like it's really simple to install. It just goes in here. Maybe I'm doing this backwards. Nope. I have to remember myself how I did that. It goes in like that. And give it that little 1/8 of a turn. So if you were having performance problems with one of these, say in the future after you've had it for a while, chances are you need to disassemble and clean this. You can just use mild dish soap usually, and that basically makes a brand new vacuum. The other thing that I've noticed with vacuums this size is it's important to keep those clean for airflow. They have very strong little motors that rely on that air going past that's being sucked in order to cool the motor. So if you let that clog up, that could overheat on you, and usually they're fine, and once they cool down they work again. But something to keep an eye on. And kind of based on the size of it, this is definitely an empty it out with every use. And if you run it, say 20 minutes, I would give it a dump. So you might, if you're running it for a very long period of time, maybe twice. But definitely you're going to want to empty this with every use. All right, one more thing to look at before I get that battery charged so that we can see what it's capable of. Here is that bracket that I was talking about, and I've got a feel for how this works now. So there's a screw hole here and a screw hole here. So I think the way this is supposed to go is this just sits like that. You could probably, depending upon the height you put it at, you could leave this attached. But this is the part that I actually like the best. I know it's a silly thing, but it has a place to store the tools. You can never find these things when you need them. So this is actually a big deal to have a place to store the tools. So that's a very good design. But yeah, I think that's about all we can do with this for now. So I'm going to go ahead and get that battery charged up. Then we'll do some more tests on it, and we'll go from there. Okay, the battery is all charged up now, and I'm ready to go do some tests. Before I start that though, I thought it might be kind of fun if we were to actually measure the vacuum. So I have got some books here to steady this, which I have borrowed from my bookshelf, and a vacuum gauge. So it's pretty straightforward. We're going to hook it up to the vacuum and see how much it's pulling, to see if it's pulling the rated vacuum. So let me first zoom this in just a little bit, so hopefully you will be able to see that gauge really well. Alright, so that looks good. Maybe just a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start this up. So you probably saw that I was only holding it there for a few moments. And that's because these little motors rely on the air going through them to be cooled. So I couldn't go ahead and disconnect that couldn't block off that air completely, or we'd have an overheat. So I did this a little bit earlier, and I'm assuming you saw what I saw. It is very close. It's coming up at about 25.5 thereabouts. It's rated at 26, if I remember right. The gauge has like an accuracy of 3%, so we're well within tolerance. So it is pulling the amount of vacuum that it says it's supposed to. So that's exciting. Let's go ahead now, and I'll give you a quick little demonstration of it, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it. So now that I've used it, a few thoughts. I think it worked great, had plenty of suction. I used it both on hard floors and on carpeted surfaces, and got good performance on all of those. There's not very much I can say negative about it. Like I said, you just need to keep an eye on how much you've sucked up. You need to clean that out regularly, at least once with every use. Don't let hair or anything like that build up inside of there, because that will not only decrease your suction, but like I think I've mentioned a couple of times now already, you don't want to mess with the flow of air going across the motor to cool it, because it will eventually overheat if you do that. But I thought it worked great. So yes, I would recommend it. I think it's a good product. If you've enjoyed this review, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that. If you like this video, please like it. And by all means, leave me a comment. I do try and respond to those. So until next time, I'll see you in my next video.